The process of presenting classes to the various ACE schools and or home schools will be as follows. At our office we have two separate computers, each with its own Skype ID. We've got the virtual campus Skype ID and we've got House of Tutor Skype ID. We'll come back to the Skype idea a little bit later on, but for now please remember that we have two separate computers, one for each Skype ID. Now on the House of Tutor computer we will be presenting the eROOM classes. So that is the computer on which we physically work when a class is presented inside the eROOM. Now the eROOM is also the place where all the various schools and home schools and computers would access to see the whiteboard. So what then would happen is a school, let's say GHI School 1, will log on to the eROOM using the following website address, going to www.myvci.co.za and then just clicking on the student option and clicking on the demo room has started for the time being. At a later stage you will have a login details, email and login details on that exact same screen. So you will go to the student screen to log in to the eROOM class at a scheduled point in time. It's very important that the school logs on into the eROOM at the prescribed time. Latecomers will find it very difficult to be accommodated because of the Skype and the sound system, which I will explain a little bit later. So please remember a time for the classes are very important. Don't be late for the classes. And therefore in the same way, all the other computers, if we look at another school, for instance we've got their DEF school. Now DEF school has two computers. Now both of them would log into the eROOM separately if they are used, both of them are used for the school. Alternatively, if just one is used, please make sure that the number of the computer corresponds to the Skype ID, because each of these schools will have a Skype ID also linked to its Skype name. So for instance, let's say that is GHI School 1, this is DEF School 2 and DEF School 1. When DEF School 2 is the computer being used to log into the eROOM, it is important that you will write to DEF in the eROOM. Because in the eROOM there's a block appearing on the screen that says members. Now the name that you typed when you log in will actually be displayed there. And it's important that you type the number of your computer first, the 2 DEF or 1 DEF, and also we'll have an ABC school, for instance, also logging in. Now if it's just one computer at a specific location or a specific school logging onto the eROOM, it's not that much of a problem. It is when more than one computers are present and any one of them could be used to log into the eROOM, or more than one could be used to log into the eROOM. The reason why all of this is important is as you are currently seeing this recording explaining the process to you, each class in the eROOM will also be recorded. For the time being it will be available on YouTube, as is this recording. Later on we will have it hosted on our MyMobi site. But to record the class we make use of the Skype sound system. It's an excellent system that allows us the opportunity to reduce any echoing and feedback. So we prefer to use Skype as the voice channel in the eROOM, although we do have a voice channel inside the eROOM. We prefer Skype. So the process would then be as follows. At the point in time when a class is supposed to start, everybody, all the various schools would log in to the eROOM and their names would appear there. According to the protocol as I explained earlier, the number first and then the school's name, if there are more than one computer present at a specific school. So once the schools have logged in, from our side we will see which computers have logged in. That's why it was important to say to DEF, because it corresponds to that DEF School 2 computer. Now before this eROOM can happen, all of these computers, all of them will have to link up with the virtual campus computer through Skype. So each one of them will have to log in to Skype and do a request to share details, so that we have all of them on our system. And then when DEF School 2 logs in as 2 DEF, what will then happen is a conference call would be started at the virtual campus computer. The conference call would be sent to all the computers, as well as the House of Tutor computer, which will be the presenter of the class. So the important thing for you to remember is that the virtual campus computer actually hosts the conference call. That's why it's important not to be late, because to get somebody into a conference call after the conference has started is very difficult. We prefer to start the conference call and then have everybody present in the class. That allows us the opportunity then to have the class or the session recorded as well. Skype conference calls unfortunately use a lot of processing power on the computer. That's why we've decided not to host the conference call on the same computer as the class is being presented, because with the recording technology and the class being presented, we cannot also host a Skype conference call. The computer just becomes too slow and the classes are blurred and really very delayed as well. So that is the reasoning behind what we're doing in terms of the Skype conference call. Just to recap then, when a school logs into the eROOM, at the House of Tutor computer, a bell would ring alerting the tutor that a new person has logged in. At the point of the class starting, this computer would create a conference call with all the participants and the class can start. After the class is finished, the conference call will be ended and the recording would be saved. Now that could happen after every 10 minutes as well. We are limited to an amount of 10 minutes recording time in a single session, recording session. Although the classes are 45 minutes long, we cannot record longer than 10 minutes. So the conference call won't be broken, but the recording would be stopped after a maximum of 10 minutes in each eROOM session, after which the class would just be continued. But once the session is finished, the conference call would be stopped, and at the next class, everybody needs to log back in. Please, very important, do not stay in the eROOM. It's very important. Once the class is finished, please log out, and when you want to come in for the next class with whichever computer you're going to be using, log back in so that the House of Tutor computer can be alerted to the participants joining the class. And then just in closing, all these recordings that are made in the eROOM would be placed, like I explained earlier, on YouTube for the time being. And once that is done, it normally would be by the next morning, all of these computers, that one on its Skype ID, that one on its Skype ID, that one, and that one, would actually receive a text message, a chat message from Skype with a link to YouTube. So the students could then just click on that link and go and revisit the recordings on YouTube of the classes from the previous day. And then if they want to revisit much later, a week or a month later, they just need to go into the chat history of the Skype facility and revisit by clicking on the link. It's as simple as that. So please make sure that this whole process is understood. If there are any questions, you could direct them to the virtual campus Skype address, typing a message. You can phone on the House of Tutor Skype name, or you can send an email to the following email address: info@tutormagics.com. Send an email and we will be glad to answer any questions you might have, but please understand every single step in this process. Once we actually get going, it will be easy to keep going, but just to get started, especially the request to share details from each one of these computers, very important. Each one of them need, before the very first lesson ever takes place, each one of them will have to send a request to share details to Virtual Campus Skype ID.